Let's see. Awesome. Hello, everybody. This is Preston Poulter, Pocket Jacks Comics, and we got so many writers here tonight. We got, of course, John and Danny. I mean, longtime veterans, but this is, I think, first time for Bit Rush, who is muted. Hello.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So, and I think we're going to start with your script because you turned in Pumpkin Patch 1 before anybody. Before anybody else. So tell us a bit about this script and this story. What's this about?
So it's kind of like a creation story of Halloween through the eyes of jack-o'-lanterns, or pumpkins, as we call them. They're punk rock pumpkins. And this is their creation story, so to speak. I guess it starts with the world already there, but as we know it, this is the beginning.
Okay. And Vito wants to come on too. Okay, awesome. Let me go.
There's so many people.
There, I know there's too many people
done
tonight.
Something right, except I know we haven't.
Yeah. I mean, I did tag comic creators, which should have been, but no. Okay. So there. Anyway, check Discord. And it'll be quite an honor to have Vito on. I mean, I don't typically get people who have YouTube channels with 200,000 subscribers, but it's always nice for people to make comics. And Al is coming on for his second time, I think, right, Alec?
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. So, all right. Now, your story, if I remember, you had the Rapping Angels thing, and we gave you some notes to tell me what changes you made. What am I going to see tonight?
Just changes to forgot the how you described it, but changing the traditional or the recognized name of God to a fictional name.
Okay.
And then also taking some of the backstory out and moving that into an introductory section, maybe like on the front or back of the comic book. I'm gonna have that, and just focusing on the premise of the story of the first issue.
Okay. All right, and we got Vito. I'm gonna come to your script second.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I don't need to jump the line or anything.
All right, let's take a look at Bit Rush. You are on. We're gonna look at Pumpkin Patch Comic 1: Rise of the Pumpkins.
Sweet, thank you, guys.
All right, so share screen. Let me pull up the script. All right, so who do you want to narrate? Is the big question.
I don't have a preference. Whoever wants to volunteer, I guess.
Vito, why don't you narrate for us? Can you read this?
I can see it. Okay. You're gonna scroll for me.
Yeah, I will scroll for you.
Okay. Am I reading headings and everything?
I mean, I if I was reading this, I'd go page 1, first frame, and then I would go like that.
Okay. But I am reading like descriptions, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Page 1, main frame. Setting is a farm with the pumpkin patch in the center of the frame. The scene is a Halloween carnival. Children in costumes are running throughout the frame. One is flying a kite, another with a candy apple, etc. Adults are walking hand in hand, picking out pumpkins. Weather is clear, and when you look at the image, everything looks absolutely perfect. Text
Preston,
in
are you
frame.
going to say it, or am I?
Go ahead, John.
Every sentence is passive.
There you go. Go ahead, Vito.
Is that good or bad?
That's bad. We don't like passives.
Okay. Text in frame. The town pumpkin patch, a place where old and young alike can go to celebrate all that the Halloween season has to offer. Lower left frame. Dark clouds fill this frame. Text in frame, but this wasn't always the case. Lower right frame. Even darker clouds fill this frame. Text in frame. Even before humans, in quotations, ruled the planet. Page 2, top third of frame. Setting is the same pumpkin patch from page 1 with no humans or signs of civilization in the traditional sense. Aside from that difference, the image looks exactly the same. Pumpkin patch in center. Text in frame. When the Earth was young, species that no longer exist today made the planet what it would one day become. Middle third frame. Zoom into the pumpkin patch from the previous frame, now clear, simply showing the patch and vines and a few of the pumpkins peeking out from the leaves of the vines, but with no facial characteristics or signs of being anything other than an ordinary pumpkin. Text in frame. One of those species, the pumpkin, later known as Pumpkin, was well known for its brave and adventurous nature. Bottom third frame. Zoom into Pumpkin Patch even closer, this time seeing a pumpkin up close, complete with eyes and hair from Pumpkin NFT Mint. No carving yet. Text and frame. And on this day, the Pumpkins were about to embark on an adventure that would change the course of history forever. Page 3. This page has 6 panels, with each panel showing a different part of the zoomed-in pumpkin from the previous page. If the panels were connected like puzzle pieces, the full picture of the pumpkin would be there. Upper left frame. Text in frame. For as long as any pumpkin could remember, times of peace. Upper right. We're broken by times of war. Middle left. Just as good is balanced by evil. Middle right. The Pumpkin Master was balanced by the Smasher. Bottom left. Each time the Smasher appeared, bottom right, the Master would send the pumpkins from the patch to defeat him. Page 4. This page sets the stage for the remainder of the comic, following the baby pumpkins heading into the forest where they get smashed by the Smasher. 3 frames on this page. Top frame. 3 baby pumpkins are on this page heading into the forest. This frame is a distance shot showing them traveling from the patch to the forest. Text in frame. A normal walk in the woods would change the course of these pumpkins' lives forever. Middle frame. Pumpkins are in the forest, smiling and happy. A shadow looms over them, but they don't see the owner of the shadow. The shadow is the Smasher. Bottom frame. Frame shows a huge hammer coming down, complete with motion lines and the word smash drawn in, signifying the Smasher destroying the baby pumpkins.
Aww.
Yay!
How horrible. Page 5. This page is broken into 3 frames, 2 frames side by side on top, 1 on the bottom. Upper left 2/3 frame. Setting is of the Pumpkin Master planting seeds in the patch. Pumpkin Master is a pumpkin head with vines and magic, weaving together as a full body covered in armor and helmet. Text. When the Master sensed the return of the Smasher, seeds would be planted in the patch. Upper right 2/3. Setting is of the patch with the newly introduced Pumpkin Wizard casting a growing spell on the Pumpkin Patch. Pumpkin Wizard has wizard hat, beard, and star glasses. Text. The Pumpkin Wizard would then be summoned to bring the planted pumpkins quickly to life. Character text. Wizard speech bubble with emotion yelling, "Rise." Bottom third.
So there's a
Okay.
wizard. I'll voice the wizard from here on out. Go ahead.
Sure.
All right. But by the way, bit instead of text and frame, like caption is easier. And then if you could like name that instead of character text, if you could just identify the character, like wizard or
Yeah, just say Wizard Rise.
Pumpkin One, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Makes sense.
I'll maybe add that in myself. Bottom third frame. Setting is of the patch with pumpkins erupting from the ground. Each pumpkin has different characteristics and accessories. Caption. When the pumpkins emerged from the ground, time was not wasted. The Master quickly set them on their quest.
My pumpkins, the time has come.
Pages 6 and 7. Setting is an overhead of the patch. This will be a 2-page spread, cutting the page in half. Frame. The spread frame is from behind the Master and Wizard, looking towards the assembled pumpkins.
The Smasher and his orcs have been vanquished before, and they will be vanquished again. You must call all of your allies and your strongest magic if you are to be successful on your quest.
Page 8. Throughout the 4 frames of this page, pumpkins are preparing themselves for the upcoming journey. Top left. Pumpkin Master picking up a ceremonial carving knife. Caption. The journey would be hard, and so the pumpkins began to make preparations. Top right. Pumpkin Master is carving a large mouth on another one to show a ferocious/scary expression. Caption. The Pumpkin Master carved frightening mouths and eyes into the other pumpkins to put fear in the hearts of the enemies they would face. Bottom left. A shot of a pumpkin putting on a Jason mask. Caption. Others dress themselves in gear that might lead the elves and orcs, 2 of the most dangerous residents of the forest, to think twice before attacking. Bottom right, overhead shot of all the pumpkins crowded around what appears to be a large mound of dirt in the patch. Caption. But all the preparation was not complete without a visit from the spirits that guided and protected the pumpkins. Page 9. This is a one large frame from the point of view of a pumpkin at the back of the pumpkin crowd, looking towards the mound of dirt. Floating above the mound are 4 spirit pumpkins, all with wings: dragon, angel, bat, from the pumpkin NFT project, all pointed towards the mass of pumpkins. The spirit pumpkins are casting spells, so we see the spells traveling traveling towards the pumpkin army. Caption: and these spirit pumpkins knew precisely what to do, casting spells and enchantments that would help the pumpkins fell their foes. Page 10. These 2 frames will exhibit some of the enchantments the spirit pumpkins bestow on the other pumpkins. Top frame. In this frame, 2 pumpkins receive helmets and laser vision as a gift from the spirits. Caption: in some cases, pumpkins were given helmets. Other pumpkins might be gifted laser eyes, a weapon strong enough to make even the largest orc a distant memory. Bottom frame. In this frame, 2 pumpkins are given arms. Caption: the spirits also provided enhancements that pumpkins normally would never have on their own. Arms were a significant blessing, allowing the pumpkins to defend themselves in ways never possible before.
All right, and let's stop there because 10 pages is how far I normally go. So, all right. We had 10 pages of Pumpkin Patch 1. We established the pumpkins, the pumpkin master, the smasher. Apparently there's orcs and elves, magic. And I mean, that's a pretty incredible world. The pumpkins are certainly cute. I felt a little sad when they got smashed and stuff. So that was horrible. Wait, I don't understand what you mean. But it's an interesting story. I look forward to seeing where it goes. John, what do you think?
Yeah, it has a very cute premise. So I kind of like that, and it's a very, very interesting world, and yeah, it definitely has got the the Halloween vibe and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's an interesting, cute little story.
Danny.
So I really liked the outlining that you did, which is something some writers could use to improve quite a lot. Like, this is what this page is for, is a useful note also for the illustrator, although it did get a little bit repetitive here. I think this is a great tie-in comic. Any child in the mid-'80s who gets this in their box of like random pumpkin box is going to be very happy to know their backstory.
Sweet.
All right, Vito, what'd you like about it?
Yeah, definitely feels like a guide. Obviously it is to the whole kind of world. So I wonder if you'll do something interesting there with the illustrations to kind of set it apart. Because at some point, does this turn into a story of some sort where the characters are more like focus on particular characters?
So this is kind of the intro of the world, but eventually, yeah, we'll probably do like some, different adventures with different ones.
So in like different issues. So this is kind of just like an overview of the world.
Yeah. Yep. And so I already have the NFTs. We did the NFT project last October. And so this is to deliver the comic to, all the people who purchased one. And then I also have a game that's very similar to like Angry Birds that's going to be coming out with season 2 this October. So it kind of ties into the game, the comic, and the NFT project in one.
Cool. Yeah, I think people like having like a guide that explains what's going on.
Ulrich, what did you like about it?
I like the simplicity of the story, and then the illustration description seemed pretty compensatory too. You could follow along with it. So yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, let's talk about areas for improvement. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to go first.
All right, go ahead.
I actually, there's technical stuff that I'm sure Preston and John are going to talk about, but this is perfectly drawable and it's basically fine.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, once you start having like named characters doing complicated actions or start directing complicated shots that are smaller than a full page, this formatting is going to cause you trouble.
Okay, could you elaborate on that? Like,
so the way you're describing where the panels are and what's being shown, totally fine for what you're doing. Lots of pretty static images. We're establishing a world. When it's like dramatic shot of ogre pumpkin or like, Jason Pumpkin chainsawing an orc off, and then like the arm flies across and whatever. The passive voice and sort of the way you're describing the dialogue and sort of the action is so passive that it's going to make it that you're going to need a very good illustrator to sort of, who you're assuming, of course, that it's someone who you're unfamiliar with. The illustrator would have to be very good to figure it out and also make it cute and also put it to brand and also, make it appropriately dramatic. For the static shots that you've got here, it's fine, totally drawable. So like you've got the one page with like the viewpoint from the one pumpkin going over the back of the heads of the other ones, and then there's like all the magic flying around and people are transforming. Totally cool, but that's a big image, right? So using that description style for smaller images, I think you're going to end up overwriting it.
Okay, that makes sense.
You want me to go next?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just capitalizing on what piggybacking off what Danny said, I would say to use motion lines and ghosting effect, which I learned about in here, to help illustrate for the illustrator how you want to translate your descriptions into your artwork.
Okay.
I just felt that I felt like it was paced fine. I felt like you could have maybe cut down a couple of pages and still told us. I mean, because really all you did in 10 pages was set it up. Here's the world. It has a pumpkin master. There are bad things in the world, and now the pumpkin master is going to have to kick some ass. And that's, I think, where we ended at 10 pages. And I feel like you could have gotten there in 8, which is going to save you money because that's 2 pages you didn't have to pay somebody to draw, and will allow you to put in 2 pages of Pumpkin Master actually kicking ass. So that's just my note.
Pumpkin Smasher did kick a little bit of ass.
Yeah, he did.
It made you sad. It made me happy because there was a cute thing being smashed.
Right.
Yeah, I'm that guy in the stream today, apparently.
There you go. Vito, do you have any constructives?
I think, again, it feels like it's kind of a series overview. So it's not really like a narrative, it's more kind of like, here's all these, I don't know, it's kind of giving the backstory, I guess, as well.
Right.
Yeah, it feels like the lead up to a comic, which is fine. I mean, I think people like this kind of backstory and world building. I just wonder what the best format to put it in is. Like, I know for my book, I'm going to be doing, hopefully like this little kind of manual that's like an in-universe guide to being a world ender or whatever. So I don't know, maybe play around with that or something, but yeah, no, I think it's solid. Yeah. Again, it feels like something you'd get in your kid's meal along with your pumpkin toy, like a little, insert to go along with it and tell you what the hell you just got.
Cool.
I guess have fun with it that way. And almost maybe there's a way to make it look like it's like, I don't know, your artist or whatever, but to make it look like it's from some sort of toy promotion or something to really fit kind of that theme.
All right. I think that was everybody, unless anyone has any more comments. You have any questions for us? Any comments?
Yeah, just so like I understand completely because I'm new to all the writer terms.
Sure.
Like passive versus active means like not saying as much of what's happening and more descriptive. Is
no, it's how you structure the sentence. So hold on, let me pull it up.
While he's doing that, so I have two small notes I'll make. So one is, do you already have your artist lined up? Like, is your artist part of your project already? Are you writing this for a specific artist?
I kind of am talking to an artist right now, but I don't have that locked in
Okay.
just yet.
Because that may affect how you're going to write things. It has for me, considering my artists are all Brazilian and I have to write for Google Translate. So that has affected how I write some of my scenes. Because I want to make sure that what I'm visualizing translates. So I wasn't sure, because again, if you are writing for a specific artist that's already on board and this is the style that he wants, then a lot of times you're just going to write for them. Otherwise, Danny is correct that cleaning up some of your structuring is going to help. The story note that I had is that a lot of times when people do world building, especially you spending 10 pages of world building, I'm not going to say the recommended, or just say one way to do it is to focus on a particular character and tell your story through the eyes of that character. And of course, because it's a big one, but okay, for some reason, Lord of the Rings just came to mind, which is not what I had in mind. But in Lord of the Rings, the opening has like a 15-minute voiceover monologue. Especially in the extended edition, it's like 15 minutes long. But it's all done through basically through the ring. It's like if the one ring was a character, everything is about that one thing. And then I'm trying to think. Okay, wow, I'm coming up with really bad examples. So the Star Wars, the new one, the first one of the new trilogy, when we're introduced to
The Force Awakens.
Finn.
Yeah.
We see that entire opening scene when the stormtroopers arrive through his perspective. So we learn a lot about the Empire and the stormtroopers and all of that through the perspective of that character. So we get to know that character and we get to like that character all while this world building stuff is going on. So sometimes that is another way of doing your world building, by also introducing your character. It also allows your audience to connect with that character and then hope for that character rather than just getting something static. Not that what you're doing is wrong necessarily, but I think that's why a lot of people are saying, okay, this is interesting world building, but okay, this is good for X, Y, and Z, but what's the story? What's the narrative? Like we don't have any of that. And I think if we had a character that we could connect to, say from page, like what if one of the baby pumpkins escapes and they become the main character, so they kind of see this revenge against the Smasher through the eyes of this surviving baby pumpkin that, like now we have a character to root for, and now we I think that might help connect people to your story a little bit more emotionally than what we currently have.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
I'd say as is, this feels like, it feels like a, I don't know, advertising material. But
Yeah, it's a
I don't think
title.
yeah, which is not necessarily bad. I think there is like use to that.
I mean, it is
No.
there to support NFTs. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right.
actually its intended use.
yeah. So
Yeah. So it's not exactly telling me a story right now, but if it's, giving me the backstory of this universe, it all depends on if later on you're planning on doing kind of a story. Maybe now would be a time to introduce some, central character. I do like
That
the
is
idea that
absolutely
like
true. Yeah.
Yeah, once maybe when the Smasher appears, you could say, and witnessing it was this particular pumpkin, and then you can elaborate on that later.
So the main character kind of throughout is going to be the Pumpkin Wizard. He's kind of at the head of the journey throughout most of it, but there is several characters that we introduce to, and it's kind of
typical writer advice would say spend a bit more time because I think like the Pumpkin Wizard was only in like one panel out of 10 pages, and I would, if that's going to be your main character, I think we need to get to know him a little better.
Okay.
But in terms of grammar rules, active and passive are grammar rules. So, feel free to Google these. But, I placed the book is active. The book was placed is passive. And another big passive is to be or is. So your first sentence, setting is a farm with a pumpkin patch in the center of the frame. How about a pumpkin patch sits in the center of the frame?
Okay, I see.
Or a pumpkin patch sits in the center of a farmyard. The scene is a Halloween carnival, just instead of, children run in Halloween costumes throughout the frame. Because the scene is a Halloween carnival. Instead of telling, all right, well, Danny liked that one, but
again, it's fit to purpose, right? If this was attempting to tell a story about a character, this would be very frustrating,
right?
Because it's basic bitch world building. I mind so much less.
Yeah,
but nevertheless, right? Yeah. Children in costumes run through a Halloween carnival.
Yeah,
one flies a kite.
Yeah, one flies a kite instead of one is flying. One flies a kite, and notice how like your sentences get shorter because it takes more words to use passive. So
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Like another example is the second panel there. You wrote dark clouds fill the frame, which is still like sort of passive, like dark clouds fill the sky. Dark clouds begin to fill the sky. Dark clouds continue to fill the sky. Like you're creating a mood with your language that way more strongly, which tends to help your illustrator like stick the landing instead of just drawing what you want, also getting the kind of drawing that you want. Because clouds in the sky, there's a couple ways to do that, and they might not all be what you want. And then you might be stuck with, well, I asked for it, but that's not what I want, which is where you don't want to be in production.
Okay.
All right, Vito, tell us about Super Killer.
What can I say? It's about a guy. I don't really want to get. I don't know. What do I say?
All right.
I'm doing this experiment where I don't want to tell people like the premise because I want to see if they can get it.
Okay.
From the book.
Who do you want to narrate?
I don't know if anybody is.
Who's
just given credit?
All right, John, go for it.
Yeah, go, John. I might now. Let me be clear. I don't know how to structure. I've written like screenplay stuff, so if I've put too much description, I apologize.
Okay.
Page 1. This entire page should be done as a page from the Golden Age comic book. Panel 1. Interior secret base. Day. The fiendish villain UFO bot stands at a computer table, computer control panel, his eyes wide with surprise as his evil deeds are interrupted by the arrival of the mighty hero, Meteor Man. The hero's flying punch has easily broken through the rock wall of the UFO's secret base, bits of bricks and debris still filling the air. Meteor Man flies through the hole as his punch has created his arm outstretched in classic Superman flying pose.
I would say, by the way, just so you know, Vito, at one point, John and I were also out there in Los Angeles, living the dream and trying to get that script sold. But I can tell you're coming out of screenplays here because I think there's too much going on in one panel. Yeah. So like that's an awful lot for an artist to draw.
Well, what do you call it? Basically, this could be summed up very simple, much simpler. Is he's flying through the wall, UFO bot is turned around and looking at him. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here's my suggestion when I did the switch from screenplays to comics, because remember a film is 24 frames a second. you are quite literally describing one frame. So you need to cram as much story into one frame as you possibly can. So I try to visualize the frame, and then I describe it generally either left to right or front to back. So you have
this first page is
let
Go
me
ahead.
finish.
Go
So
ahead.
you talk about the villain, and then you talk about your hero, and then you talk about the villain, and then you talk about your hero again. So if I was writing one panel, and as I said, I got your visual, I would describe, say, the villain, he is foreground, he is doing this. Then I describe in the background, hero is here, hero is doing this, rocks are flying everywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. It says the same thing, but it's in one panel, and it explains things a little bit different, or a little bit more in a way that an artist would know what they're drawing.
So do one character, then do the other character. Don't break it up.
I shall be Meteor Man. Looks like the jig is up. UFO bot.
Meteor Man, but that radioactive meteorite should have disabled your powers.
Panel 2, Meteor Man delivers a mighty punch to the Fiend, smashing his glass helmet. UFO bot recoils in pain.
Well, Fiend, you were right about my weakness to green meteorium.
Ow!
Panel 3, Flashback, interior torture chamber, windowless. So that's how I do it. Okay, I will do it from now on.
All right.
Well, you remember, every time I do a room that has no windows, I always say day or night, and y'all crap on me like, how do we know if it's day or night? There's no windows.
There's no windows.
I am going to steal that.
You can very well steal that.
Windowless doesn't tell you what costumes the characters are wearing if they have a different costume on day 1 or 2.
Right.
That doesn't matter. That it's only... Okay. Well, it's a flashback, so we know it's a different time. Meteor Man is being kept in hostage. A glowing green meteorite crystal sapping his powers and causing him to grimace in pain. Kid reporter Snap Sullivan looks shocked as he frantically works to free Meteor Man from the evil device. For shits and giggles, I would change the color so you don't have to worry about trademarks.
Yeah, that's all being messed with. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Use your judgment for best how to show this. The crystal might be powering some sort of torture device. Okay, we'll skip that.
Thankfully, my signal watch sent out a distress call to my super pal, kid reporter Snap Sullivan. He was the one who freed me from your tricky torture trap.
Panel 4, return to present, interior secret base day. Snap Sullivan holds up his camera to take pictures of Meteor Man's victory. The hero jokingly humiliates UFO bot for the photo, perhaps grabbing him in a headlock or using the robot face as a stepping stone as he strikes a heroic pose. I'd say pick one.
I'll be Snap.
Go ahead.
All right, you two. Smile for the camera.
Well, UFO bot, I may have foiled your evil plan, but it looks like you're still be making the front page.
Curses! How could you fools have bested me again?
Panel 5, Meteor Man winks at the comic reader.
Sorry, Fiend, but your cold mechanical heart could never understand the power of a close male friendship.
Page 2, panel 1, interior diner day. Small inset corner panel. A comic book sits on a diner counter. The page is open to reveal the entirety of the previous page was actually a page from an in-world Meteor Man comic book. A female hand holds the pages open.
Wow.
Panel 2, full page shot. We meet our heroine, Rebecca Romano, aka Beck. This is our first ever shot of our heroine. Make it count. Okay, character description. She wears stereotypical waitress outfit. See photo reference above. Okay. Beck looks down at her open comic book in her counter, appearing bored. One hand holds the comic book open while she rests her chin on the other. Her name tag clearly reads Beck. Behind her are the expected accessories of the diner: microwave, condiment bottles, machine, coffee machine, whatever feels right.
Were comic books always this bad?
Page 3, panel 1. Beck holds the Meteor Man comic open to a full-page shot of the hero himself. The large banner declares 50 years of saving our world. A small starburst bubble advertises the contest. Meet the real Meteor Man.
50th anniversary of Meteor Man, huh? Hard to believe that the alien doofus has been around that long.
Panel 2, long shot revealing more of the diner surroundings. Beck continues flipping pages.
Hard to believe the mainstream comic press is so out of ideas that they've resorted to republishing this golden age trash.
Panel 3, as Beck reads, a mysterious, hairy man in a stained apron suddenly appears behind her.
But it's not like the small press scene is doing any better. Seems like every new indie comic is just another prepubescent dude bro fantasy. Nothing but lazy hyperviolence and flimsy excuses to get the female characters naked.
Hey, I resemble that
Exactly.
comment.
That's what we call foreshadowing.
Panel 4, same shot as previous, but the mysterious figure is now revealed as the diner owner, Dimitri. He is bent over with his face right behind Beck's. He glares at the back of her head with his crazy eyes, a vein in his forehead bulging.
Honestly, though, the whole superhero genre is so stale. I wish one of these writers would have the balls to try something original.
Panel 5, same shot as previous, but Dimitri is now screaming at Beck. The noise causes her to jolt forward in surprise, knocking the comic off the counter.
Should I be
Probably
Dimitri? Oh, whoever.
Sure.
Yeah, go. Wait, me? Who's
Yeah.
doing it?
Vito.
All right.
Vito.
Beck!
Okay, I'm sorry.
Jesus Christ.
Page 4, panel 1. Dimitri wags his finger in Beck's face. He appears crazed, teeth grit in a smile, but with eyebrows twitching and a forehead vein bulging. Beck puts up her hands defensively in response to his finger wagging.
Now, Beck, Dimitri Papadopoulos knows you are not reading the funny books again, yes?
Of course not, sir.
Panel 2, Dimitri continues his hypothetical lecturing. Anime sweat bulb on Beck. Question
Because
mark.
Dimitri Papadopoulos do not pay sad waitress girl great American sum of $2.13 an hour to read the funny books, yes?
Absolutely not, sir.
Panel 3, Dimitri holds up his hands in pained anguish. Beck sighs and looks annoyed, but she's dealt with his abusive lectures too many times before. The background is a wide exterior shot of the diner with Dimitri and Beck appearing like cutout cardboard figures pasted atop it.
Dimitri Papadopoulos, who so kindly give job to sad, pathetic, no college, no skill waitress girl. Surely she would not betray Dimitri Trust by reading the funny books during much important dinner shift.
Sigh. No, sir.
Panel 4, Dimitri again points his finger at Beck. She is defeated and exhausted.
Sad girl is sure.
I'm sure, sir.
Panel 5, same shot as previous, but Dimitri now abruptly walks past Beck toward the cash register. Beck's position and expression remain unchanged.
Good. Sad girl is now in charge of restaurant.
Yes, sir.
Same shot as previous, but Beck unswivels her head in the direction Dimitri has exited, shocked.
Wait, what?
Page 5, panel 1, Dimitri, now excited, eagerly begins pulling fistfuls of cash from the register. Beck looks concerned.
Club of gentlemen have new oriental girl with soft skin of lamb. Dimitri must leave, for tonight he make this girl into a woman.
I like this guy even more now.
But I can't run the restaurant. I don't even know how to cook.
Panel 2, Dimitri's excitement is quickly broken by his reminder of Beck's incompetence. He looks annoyed.
Yes, Dimitri is aware that sad waitress girl lack basic woman skill of the cooking of the food.
Panel 3, Dimitri points at the microwave.
Thankfully, great man invent glorious radiation oven for lazy woman like you.
Panel 4, interior of the diner's kitchen, prep table, grill, ovens, fry baskets, fridge. Rotting food lies scattered about, surrounded by buzzing flies.
Kitchen have plenty of food, just nuke and serve to customer.
Panel 5, a large pot of clam chowder is seen, its chunky contents visible.
And try to sell clam chowder. It has begun to turn to regrettable color of green.
Page 6, panel 1. Dmitri eagerly throws on his coat and heads for the door. Beck tries in vain to stop him.
And now, Dmitri have important date with Miss Suki Soxmore. Wish luck to Dmitri and his soon-to-be bride.
But wait,
Panel 2. The diner door slams shut as Dmitri exits.
And remember, no funny book.
Panel 3. Beck angrily leaves her spot behind the counter.
oh, what an asshole.
Panel 4. Beck bends over, picking her comic book up off the diner floor.
I'd pray for that bastard to die from some strain of super AIDS, but then I guess I'd be out of a job.
Panel 5. Beck frowns, brushing dirt off the cover of the comic.
But maybe he's right. Why do I even read these stupid things?
Dun, dun, dun.
Page 7, panel 1, flashback, exterior city street day. A generic Batman-looking superhero punches out a rubber. In the background, Beck 6 watches excitedly, her eyes lit up as she holds onto an unseen adult's hand.
When I was a kid, super seemed so cool.
Panel 2, flashback, exterior playground day. Beck 8 stands proudly atop a playground slide wearing a makeshift Batman-esque mask and cape. Other kids look on excited. One is in awe, another cheers.
All I ever wanted was to be one of them. Everyone told me I was crazy, but I thought if I wanted it bad enough, it would just happen.
Panel 3, flashback, exterior pond day. Beck 10 howls in a cartoonish pain, frantically waving her arms into the air. Attached to her arm is a rabid mutant raccoon, its teeth sunk into her flesh. In the background, we see a nuclear reactor. A sewer pipe leaks a torrent of radioactive fluid into the disgusting pond. Yes, Blinky. There you go.
I even let all the neighborhood animals bite me, hoping I might inherit some sort of mutant abilities.
Panel 4, flashback, exterior playground day. Beck 16 wearing the same Batgirl-esque outfit from when she was a kid, but now she looks dejected and embarrassed. 2 pairs of her teenage peers walk past her on a date. They laugh as they pass, one of them turning their head to look at Beck and make it clear that she is the one they're laughing at.
But I guess at some point you have to learn to grow up and accept reality.
Panel 5, flashback, interior bedroom day. Beck, current age, a scene from her disheveled neat lifestyle. I don't know what that means. Empty food
Not in
container.
employment, education, or training. Basically a loser.
All right. Hopefully your artist knows what that means.
Yeah.
Empty food containers and dirty laundry are scattered around. A cheap fan circulating air everywhere are haphazard piles of comic books, manga, and video games. Posters of superheroes adorn the wall. She eats from a bowl of cereal, watching old cartoons and looking bored. Fan service, how she's just wearing a wife beater and panties.
There you go.
At some point, you got to accept that. At some point, you got to accept that the life you thought you were destined for was just the stupid fantasy of an 8-year-old girl high on sugary cereal and cartoon slogans.
Remember, kids, a real hero always makes sure their home has a working radon test kit.
Remember, kids, a real hero always makes sure their home has a working radon test kit.
Page 8, panel 1, return to interior diner day. Beck looks down at the comic in disdain. Meteor Man poses majestically. The title, Meteor Man, Earth's greatest hero.
I've been waiting my whole life for something like this to happen, and look where it brought me.
Panel 2, Beck is reflected in the comic's glossy cover.
God, I'm such an idiot.
Panel 3, small panel, close-up of the bell above the diner door ringing. Ding-a-ling! Panel 4, Beck stands up, putting on an enthusiastic front as she greets the arriving customers.
Welcome to Dimitri's.
Panel 5, same shot as previous, but her face slips to a look of shock and concern.
How many in your party?
Page 9, panel 1, the arrival of Sam King, a.k.a. Super Killer. Again, this is an exciting first appearance of our hero. He's a killer. Make this one count. He's breathing heavily. So, yeah, okay. That's character description. Panel 2, small close-up of Sam's face. Though it's possible this is a bit of dialogue. I just wanted... Okay. Who wants to do Sam?
Just me.
Page 10, panel 1, interior diner day. Establishing shot of the diner to indicate time passing. Panel 2, interior diner day. Sam sits at the counter. A bowl of clam chowder sits in front of him. Beck places a chocolate milkshake beside it.
There we go.
Panel 3, close up of the food as it's placed down.
1 bowl of clam chowder and 1 chocolate milkshake.
Panel 4, Sam slips the milkshake as Beck looks on. Slurp.
Well, how is it?
Panel 5, Sam is pleased. Beck is excited.
It's perfect.
All right, nailed it.
Panel 6, Sam passes out on the counter, slamming his head onto it as he falls. Beck looks comically concerned. Wham.
Dear God, I've poisoned another one.
All right, 10 pages.
All right, thanks, guys.
That was entertaining. Like I love Dimitri. He's a very entertaining character. So that was cool.
Well, I'm trying to establish that she doesn't have the best job, I guess.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, like, if you want to put somebody in a shitty job in a comedy, you nailed it. Like,
yeah.
Quite literally, that's like, this is a comedy. She's in a shitty job. That's like, yeah, that's a really, really good way to do it.
Boss is leaving to go have sex with a hooker.
And you did it in an over-the-top comedic way, which was good. You kept raising the stakes. Like, we think it's going to be here, and then you bring it up, and then it's there, and then you bring it up again, and then you bring it up again, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, by the way, I'm leaving. Like, it's just so out of left field. That's what makes it funny and over the top, and that's why as a comedy it works. And yeah, it does what you want to do without while also making the story funny. So
nice.
Yeah.
Bit rush.
Yeah, I liked the beginning, how you had like the old school comic and established the world through her reading a comic. So it's like, that it's fake, but it's also real at the same time, like establishing that like aspect of the superheroes being a real aspect of the world.
Yeah, that's something I've struggled with, is making it clear that superheroes are real in this universe. So I'm hoping that her reading a comic doesn't make that too confusing.
No, I thought it was good.
I mean, her trying to get bitten by a radioactive fish certainly nails it. So I think.
All right.
Yeah, I very much want her to be kind of a down on her luck, kind of lovable loser.
You have succeeded.
Yeah, I like the descriptions of the characters. I mean, it was very entertaining, man, to make a long story short.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Danny.
This was an incredibly successful opening to a comedy.
Nice.
There you go.
Well, that's what I'm going for. I definitely am trying to make a funny
Well, that's
book.
good, because I mean, if it was like a gritty,
I'm like, no, it's supposed to be gritty and hyper realistic. I'm trying to.
All right, constructives. You do use a fair number of passive voice in your descriptions. I would encourage you to try and be more active.
Yeah.
Danny's even gone so far as to say if you use active voice instead of passive, your Illustrator will give you better pages.
Okay.
It's true.
Yeah, as we're reading through it, there's some stuff.
Right. Be a little bit careful with how you're managing like anime comedy versus manga comedy.
Yeah.
Because some stuff works better in animation, like the chibi characters popping out of the diner in the background works great in an anime, but not with the lines you have. Your protagonist sighs instead of arguing back.
Yeah.
Right. So there's only one pose for that cut, right? So you're expecting an arguing pose because that's the sort of cut it is. but you're not getting it in the dialogue. So maybe try and read more comedy manga and see how it's done in stills, if that's a direction that you want to go with consistently.
Yeah, I actually mostly read manga. I actually don't watch a lot of anime. So I think what I had pictured there was that she would just be looking dejected and kind of looking down and having like a visual, maybe like puff of air. It's something I can picture. I can't. I'd have to remember where I've
I
seen
kind
it.
of have an idea of what you're going for, and it'll probably work.
Yeah.
If your illustrator understands what you're saying.
Yeah.
that's
Well,
what
I
I
might
was-
give.
Which was going to be my comment was that some of your panel description, I think you need to decide. Don't leave everything up to your illustrator.
Right.
Because you say, oh, this counter has lots of counter things on it. Well, that counter could end up empty. Unless
Or, don't cheap out on the illustrator and you'll probably be fine.
Some of those
That's
notes
true
where it's
too.
like this or this is like a note to me to pick one, not to the artist. So when it says like it could be this or this, that's me kind of telling myself, Vito, pick one of these. So yeah, I'm not going to hand it off to him. I don't think like that.
Okay.
You
Well, I
should
know-
definitely pick one. Like I just had a meeting even with like a director for a film that I'm going to be working on today, and I had to tell the director to just pick an action because it's a work order.
Yeah.
Right. No one's reading your script in the end.
Yeah,
Nobody your script is used to produce.
Yeah, what I noticed is like some of the times when you had some of your main characters come in and you said like this is the first time they're being introduced. I would say be more specific. Like say you want like a certain emotion illustrated with the character, or you want it to be dramatic in this way or this way in this way specifically. So like they were saying, so they're not leaving anything out or misrepresenting your idea.
Yeah.
I do like that just random direction of like, hey, this is an introduction, make it count. I might borrow that for other projects.
You're welcome to take that. But yeah, those are the like big like listen, motherfucker. This is the first time they're seeing this guy. This is going to be the page that 100 years from now when they're making the documentary, they go, look, it's the first appearance of Superman right here. Is he going to be throwing a car, or is he going to be looking like a bitch? You know.
I mean, will he have ordered a milkshake with clam chowder? That's so disgusting.
Oh, the clam chowder plays an important role in the story, my friend.
I believe
this
everything.
is Chekhov's chowder.
About the
I
chowder.
tell you what.
I am looking forward to the chowder brick joke, but you've already landed a chowder brick joke, so I don't know if a third one is good, but it's comedy, so a fourth one is definitely.
Chowder appears in the first act. It must be used by the third, as we all know.
There you go. Any other constructives?
I don't know if it's necessarily constructive, but with the foreshadowing, when you're saying like every comic book is just trying to get the main character into her underwear, and then later you have her in her underwear, if that was you poking fun at yourself or you're foreshadowing them, that was kind of ironic and funny.
Yeah, there's going to be a little more. Basically, towards the end, I am very foreshadowing the end, where she ends up with her clothes missing. But yeah, I figured that was my out, to be like, you can't call me a creep if it's a callback joke.
Exactly.
I thought it was good though, so that's why I said I don't know. If it's
when in doubt, hang the lampshade on it. You've got the right instincts.
Yeah. No, I definitely want to. I want to have a little bit of sexiness, just to be like, look, this comic is fun. Have fun with it.
I definitely would say to be careful when you're hiring an illustrator, because you need some like seriously Saturday morning cartooning in your introductory scene, and a lot of people who want to get into comics don't like doing that.
Yeah, well, did you see? I guess you didn't see the image that's at the top. I have an artist, and he's pretty great.
You're probably
in
fine.
fact, here, let me pull that up.
I can actually send you if you want to see.
No, it's
yeah, you can just show them that
You might
splash
as well
image.
show our amazingly huge audience.
No, it's fine. It's
We've probably got like ones of people watching, tens if we're lucky.
Exactly.
and I'm thinking about. I think we're probably going to keep it black and white, like manga style, maybe with like some splashes of color. But
I recently read an indie project that you'd really like called Plainer Jane.
So this one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got a good illustrator.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, I love this guy. I love him. He's the most beautiful man in Mexico.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, black and white with splashes definitely works.
Yeah.
And actually, you should probably just read Plainer Jane because it's doing something kind of like what you're doing, but in a very different direction.
I have just bookmarked the Plainer Jane Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's a good project.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, I really like black and white. I don't know why. And yeah, this one has the splashes of color as well. I think that was the plan, was to do black and white with like splashes of red because there's going to be blood.
All right. Ollie. Angel of Song, issue 1. Who do you want to narrate?
Doesn't matter. You don't need to. I don't think. Do we need to go over the introduction again, or can we skip down to the beginning of the story? Should be a few.
Where do you want me to start?
Should be a section that says start of comic.
Okay. Hold on.
All right.
There we
go.
Yeah.
All right. So I did the narration last time, so I will offer myself up as sacrifice.
Okay.
Okay. Start of comic. Panel 1. Mission Earth Heal. Kupoke is shown sitting in his Mikdash-ats in a startled position. Motion lines are used to show sound protruding into the house.
Okay.
I'll do the narrator. Now, during what was the DML for the upcoming 4,000th Kratuza Wimbo,
Easy for you to say.
contracted Kapokia in an elevated tone that caught him off guard.
Panel 2, Mission Earth Heal continued. Close-up of Kapokia humbly listening to the voice of God. Split screen of 4K traveling through Ndugu wa Mlima en route to Kapokea's quarters.
Odash informs him that Kawaki Kudua Kawa Karisko is en route to his quarters as he separately directed him, that he planned to send him to Earth to help with the evil within, and that he wanted him to brief Kawaida on the environment.
Panel 3, Mission Earth continued. 2 split panels showing Kupokea welcoming Kawaida Kurudi Kwa Christo to his Mikdash-ats, and Kupokea now sitting across from each other in Kupokea's living room, while Kupokea scoots up close to 4K depicted by motion lines. Panel 4. The subject of Kawaida Kurudi Kwa Christo. Okay. Multiple panels showing 4K rapping in multiple different Kutuliza Wimbos to the joy of other Bindamus in the background.
Now Kawaida digested his musical provisions from Ya, the best out of all the Bindamus. Since their conception, his rhymes would please, the most for the majority of the time. But although the other Bindamus knew this, they held no jealousy.
Panel 5. Briefing on Mission Earth Heal continued. Kupokea now sits in front of 4K with his hands 2 inches apart from his temples. Use motion lines to symbolize vibrations at 4K's temples.
Despite all of the information Odoshu revealed to Kupokea, it only took him 12 minutes to transfer it to 4K's consciousness.
Panel 6. Understanding. 4K is shown sitting in his chair, back straight, with his hands on his thighs. Kupokea raises halfway out his chair. head tilted while leaning towards 4K with his hand waving in front of 4K's face using ghosting effects and motion lines in concern. Okay.
4K still sits for 7 whole minutes to the great concern of Copia.
Are you, or 4K, are you okay?
Panel 7. Understanding continued. 4K looks astonished, eyes wide as he's slowing, begins to rise up from his chair as Kapukeo leans over in 4K's direction, now placing his hands to the outside of 4K's shoulders in an effort to brace him.
By the way, Ollie, I think you might be having too many panels on a page because there's a fair amount of action and some dialogue.
If I remember last time, you didn't even have page breaks.
Panels.
Okay, I'm just saying it's a lot of panels.
Okay.
Anyway, continue.
Panel 8. 4K's understanding continued. 4K's demeanor is now standing aggressively, visibly angry.
These new revelations troubled 4K greatly. It caused a new emotion that he never felt before to rise up in him. Anger.
Panel 9. Understanding continued. Close-up of 4K looking squeamish, contemplating using a thought bubble, while Kupokea's hands are waving in front of 4K's face.
But a quarter of the way of Copia transferring his information to 4K, his anger over what he was learning motivated him to begin to mentally come up with the beginning of the first song that would counter the evil he was learning was affecting Earth and its inhabitants.
Question?
One who, I was Kabia, but one who
Oh,
hear
yeah,
him
okay.
and follow Foundation handle harder than Bling, but ones who don't, when floods arrive, they lost anti left with a thing. Or ain't left with a thing. All right. Sorry.
All right.
All right. So, Ollie, do you not have pages? Are these like just panels? You're just going to count from 1 to, okay. Huh. I wonder. All right. I'm going to assume. Okay. Go ahead.
Maybe I'm unknowledgeable about how to do the page breaks in the panels because I'm thinking I'm gonna have multiple panels per page.
Yes. I would encourage you to download some of the other scripts and the script because it's pretty basic. You just go page and then how many panels are on that page, and that's what you got to tell your Illustrator every time. Is this is how many panels I'm shooting for on this page. But I'll just assume that. You're doing like 5 panels a page, so we're gonna read 50 panels. So, all right.
Okay. Panel 10, Divine Plan. White clouds fill panel with a heavenly throne shown in the center.
Mysteriously, Odushu knew that this would be 4K's reaction and was pleased to know he chose 4K for this occasion. For this reason, he caused 4K's rhyming ability to be slightly closer to his own, minute comparatively in reality, but surpassing all other Bindamus and especially humans.
Panel 11, Divine Plan continued. 4K's demeanor now has changed for the better, and now he's smiling with his hand on Kupokea's shoulder.
Yeah, I'm fine, brother. Just thinking that's a lot to take in.
Panel 12, Divine Plan continued. Response. Kupokea now relaxes, placing his hand on 4K's shoulder as well, producing a smile.
Yes, I know. Glad you're okay. Had me scared for a minute, but God had to use for you yet.
Panel 13. Stepping into his plan. 4K is now shown departing from Kupokea's abode.
All of these revelations and the eagerness to eradicate the evil spiritually, 4K was now aware of made him anxious to travel to planet Earth as he left Kopuke's living quarters headed to his own Mekdash Eds.
Panel 14, stepping into his plan, continued. 4K is now shown meditating in his Mekdash Eds.
Through a mental conversion, Odashu explained in more detail the history of the humans on Earth and their unique relationship with him now that he had the basic understanding of their reality.
Panel 15, Terrestrial Body. 4K is still shown meditating in his Mekdash Ets, but now inside a thought bubble envisions a 3D body.
Odashu lastly informed 4K that in preparation for Earth and its 3D environment, he would be given a terrestrial body.
Panel 16, Recognized Difficulty. 4K is shown trying to stand in one split screen, and then the other screen shown bracing himself as he starts to feel fatigued.
4K, after talking with God in meditation, tried to rise up quickly, but had to quickly catch himself as he suddenly felt drained of energy. He quickly realized this was going to be no easy task.
Panel 17. Recognize difficulty, continued. 4K is shown entering his Maganda Bata Katifu Yakuzaliwa.
Odashu, however, reassured him that he would head to his what's-it-place to be replenished and feed with more of his supreme rhymes that he was accustomed to.
Panel 18. More revelations. 4K is shown in his Mikdash Atz at his desk being interrupted writing a song by Kupokea.
After being replenished in that place, 4K is found at the next DLM writing new material when he gets interrupted by knocking on his door.
Panel 19. Mission details. 4K is shown walking while talking with Kupokea from the front door of his Mikdash Atz towards his living room using mini panels.
Upon answering his door and seeing Kupokea, 4K invited him into the living room.
Hey, Kupokea, what's up?
Kupokea.
Go ahead. Bit Rush.
Yeah, that was Bit Rush.
Yeah.
It wasn't Bit Rush hat.
He's muted.
Oh, I didn't know
Unmute
that.
yourself, bro.
Oh, sorry. I was reading and then I was like, what are you guys talking about?
Okay.
Hey, Koadia. Sorry I disrupted you, but I have to share with you the latest revelations Odashu revealed to me concerning the details of your mission to planet Earth.
Panel 20. Mission details continued. 4K is seen sitting in his living room with Kupokea continuing to converse.
The terrestrial body that you learned you will receive will be what's known as a black and flagship race of mankind. You'll be coming by way of a little-known two-island nation called St. Kitts and Nevis. The story of your parents will end in what will well-known a real-time accident of a ferry capsizing, which will lead to several Kittians losing their life.
Panel 21. Mission details continued. 4K and Kupokea are still sitting in 4K's living room in his Mikdash Atz, talking, but the point of view of them is now changed.
You'll be officially introduced to the humans for the first time through an act of humanitarian aid when the United States Coast Guard, an agency of the country you're going to on the planet, will take you into their country after being picked up during the rescue mission to the accident.
Panel 22. Kupokea's send-off. 4K is shown escorting Kupokea from his Mikdash Atz, while Kupokea, back-turned, walking out, raises his hand, giving 4K his best wishes, and farewells using multiple mini-panels.
Till we meet again, Kawadia, best of wishes in Odashu's favor on your mission.
Till we meet again, old friend.
Panel 23. 4K's first verse for his mission. 4K is now shown seated back at his desk, contemplating.
After the departure of Kupokea, 4K retreats to finish his DLM, by the end of which he was inspired to write his first verse for what he hoped to use on his first song for the mission.
Panel 24. 4K's first verse for his mission continued. 4K is shown with a writing utensil in his hand at his desk, writing.
I'm moving as God, requested vital. You do the same. I'm Adam without the fall, still Christ, how I overcame. I did. See the race near demolition, blacks and kinds of all man. Damn if I don't feel his sheep receive, that's part of his plan. I can tell you, Yah substantial, although evil reside. Which buffet hand sense and judging that he be there by our side. And our microwave society want everything now, but God in his perfect wisdom, cause of evil allow wickedness, which the action inconspicuous, how got the word which show our error very clearly avowed. Panya searching, no rehearsing, Holy Spirit show found to the present greatest gift, no play, like hate how a sound, imperial raining down, refuse a secular crown. Though I hear the grave is greener, mine stay clear across town. Just a token, thou when needed, God, ascend mo provision. It's a must you train your spirit till Yahweh your vision.
I love that Preston did that, and we need to keep that recording.
It's a battle rap.
I want to auto tune that.
There we go.
Panel 25, final preparation, apostrophe S. 4K is now floating through the Dugu Bliba from the Ngoma and Mondi in the background. Why don't you just say mountainous rainforest plateau? You wrote it.
I was trying to give it some character, man. Forgive me.
Does your illustrator know what that is? Because I'm gonna just go on a limb here and assume the answer is hell's no.
After finishing up his DLM and the Ignorma Amande, 4K travels back to that's a place.
Yeah.
Panel 26, final preparation, apostrophe S. 4K is now shown in his Mata Katifu Ya Kuzaliwa in a subconscious state with a slight. Is he just in bed sleeping?
Yes.
Okay.
Still reeling from the beginning of his preparation for his mission on Earth, Odisha informs 4K that his departure from Nyota to Israeli to Earth was approaching, and he wanted to prepare him for the new lifestyle that he would soon be entrenched in.
But yeah, Ollie, if 4K is in bed smiling, you could just go 4K lies in bed smiling, and it's just
What that Matatufa Kawizla is, it's like a pod, and a pod, kind of like the Matrix pods.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like being fed his provisions inside the pod, and he's just enjoying his meal. So I don't know how I would do that. I mean, I could do it like he's sleeping inside the pod. I mean, that sounds simple enough.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're on panel 27 now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Panel 27, final preparation, apostrophe S continued. The roots of 4K's Mata Katifu Ya Kuzaliwa are now shown bulged out with motion lines, showing a purple tint as if to show purple fluid now entering the vines to 4K's Mata Katifu Ya. So motion lines are used.
So I'll just say that I understand that this is his pod, but I have no idea what you're saying, and it's great that you know what you're saying, but we have no idea what you're saying. So this is just this is word salad. It's nothing. It means absolutely nothing to us. If he's in a pod and
you're being a little harsh, John.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
All
right. So Odushu changed the style of rhyme 4K was accustomed to being freed, which forfeited 4K's character. So as to coming in contact with evil on planet Earth, it would make him too mannish, as the mission was spiritual, not physical.
Panel 28, final preparation, apostrophe S continued. The progression of the purple fluid in the roots leading to the vines connected to 4K's pod is now shown.
But Udoshu also fed 4K supreme rhymes in such a way that 4K's spirit and character wouldn't be too meek. For as the humans were diminished on account of evil in their nature, they were no pushovers.
Panel 29, final preparation, apostrophe S continued. The progression of purple fluid is now shown from the vines feeding 4K's pod to the actual pod.
Odushu also endowed 4K with the power to captivate through song. For example, this would allow 4K to make one, whether before or after having knowledge of Odushu, contemplate how a song should be retained and its implications.
Panel 30, 4K's departure. The Bindamus are now shown being released from their Mata Katifu Ya Kuzaliwas gathering at Inkundla Yom Kulo, where they could have their Ngoma Mnandi.
4 months later, all eligible Bindamus were released from their Matukasha thingies, but were directed to Induku instead of the Mikdash-ets.
Panel 31, 4K's departure continued. A large group of Bindamus are now assembled in a circle with Kupokea in center as custom.
Once all had gathered, all Bindamus experienced Ondushu began to communicate with them.
We need no Dash.
We need to know Joshu.
Hello, my
Oh.
beloved. Hello, my beloved. This is Ngoma and Davi. I'm sorry. This Ngoma and Davi is like a Ngoma and Davi like no other. One for the ages. You probably would assume due to the new intensity of rhymes I've been feeding you.
Panel 32, 4K's departure continued. Several Bindamus are now shown captivated, focusing on the voice of God there, hearing.
Today will be special as we are celebrating Kauai Curry Quad Kirsto's departure from Kwate Wa Israeli to planet Earth to begin his new mission I've appointed him on.
Panel 33, 4K's departure continued. Bindamus are now shown in shock and awe at the revealed news. The crowd of Bindamus gasps.
Odashu then confronted the Bindamus by informing them that 4K would one day return and explaining to them basics of planet Earth and 4K's mission.
There's another paragraph to that line.
Oh, after this explanation, Ondaku then called for 4K.
Kauai Curry Kawa Christu, come my son, it is time.
Panel 34, 4K's departure continued. 4K is shown floating towards the center of the cipher, while the rest of the Bindamus look on with intrigue, astonishment, and excitement. That is good direction. More of that, please.
Cool.
Panel 35, 4K's departure continued. 4K is now shown levitated in the center of the cipher, right above Kupokea. Also good direction. Panel 36, 4K's departure continued. The crowded Bindamus are now shown gathering tightly around Kupokea and extending their hands towards 4K, who is still levitated above Kupokea. Fine direction, more of this, please.
As if by instinct, all of Bindamus started to gravitate toward Kupokea, and 4K extending their hands in 4K's direction in prayer.
Panel 37, 4K's departure continued. The crowd of Bindamus is now shown formed in a hedge, with their hands lifted in 4K's direction, around Kupokea, while 4K is levitating using motion lines above Kupokea.
Shortly after all the Bindamus had assembled, 4K began to levitate over Kupokea vertically until out of sight, and the rest of the Bindamus, now knowing his mission, didn't try to fly after him.
All right, then. Panel 38, 4K's transition. 4K is now shown in flight using motion lines several miles above Nyota wa Israel. Panel 39, 4K's transition continued. Using the ghosting fading effect, now show 4K in a state of surprise. The celestial body is now changed to a terrestrial body with hip-hop clothing, whatever that means, while using motion lines to indicate him still being in flight.
Not long after passing Nyota wa Israel's atmosphere, 4K was surprised as his celestial body was transfigured to a terrestrial body and his new style of clothing as he was traveling at the speed 70 times the speed of light.
You know, I am imagining MC Hammer parachute pants now, and nothing is going to make me change.
There you go.
Panel 40, 4K arrives at planet Earth. 4K is now shown entering the Caribbean Sea using ghosting effect with little or no splash. He slipped into the water from shore, but submerging beneath the water about 12 feet. Panel 41, 4K arrives at planet Earth, continued. 4K is now shown pausing underwater, looking at himself.
The feel of the water was a wonderful thing to 4K as he took a second to examine his surroundings. Just wait till he gets wet socks.
He's an alien. Maybe he likes wet socks.
Maybe.
4K now shown using motion lines swimming to the surface of the water.
But he quickly snapped out of feeling great pressure on his chest and instinctively began to swim toward the surface.
Panel 43. 4K, first heroic deed on planet Earth. Hell yeah, it's an action scene. Let's go. 4K is shown at the surface of the water, looking at the scene of a boat capsizing and people drowning, swimming, floating, and trying to stay afloat. Oh no!
Once reaching the surface, 4K quickly became aware that there was a travesty taking place, just as he was prophesied would, as he saw victims of a ferry capsizing in the water, and because of the immediate chaos, no one noticed that he was immediately appeared.
Panel 44. 4K's first heroic deed on planet Earth continued. 4K is shown swimming towards needy people with one hand and with an elderly woman in tow in the other, and all while the capsized ferry is sinking, now completely submerged underwater.
4K quickly positioned himself to help those in trouble, starting with an elderly woman that was nearby him.
Panel 45. 4K's first heroic deed on planet Earth continued. 4K is now shown with 3 people attached to each of his arms in the water and 1 girl holding onto him from his back by his neck.
4K was able to rescue 12 people in total. He wished to help more, but could only levitate the first 5 he reached surrounding him, in addition to 7 people attached to him, without using strength and power that would seem abnormal.
Hang tough. We're going to be all right.
After hearing himself speak, how he sounded surprised him as he realized he could speak English and had an accent, but quickly regathered himself and focused on the situation at hand.
Panel 46. Authorities. The U.S. coast is now shown at the scene of the tragedy. The U.S. coast?
The Coast Guard. Let's go with it.
The coast is now at the scene of the tragedy. No, the entire coast of the United States is saving people.
He left
this is
out
a
a
comic,
word.
and someone
He
has
left
to
out
draw it.
Okay, he left out a word.
While one member of the Coast Guard points in shock in 4K's direction.
I thought it was pretty hip, quite frankly. Like, the coast is here. What's up?
They talk like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. You know,
Here comes the coast.
here comes the coast. Yeah, there you go. You gotta be hip.
12 hours later, the Coast Guard arrives and begins to pull people from the water. Then one officer spots the group of people around 4K.
Panel 47. Nobody or Dave's Mr. Hero.
Oh,
The Coast Guard is now shown in 4K's vicinity, rescuing those around him while the top officer addresses 4K from the boat while he's still in the water. But where did the coast go? Danny is sad.
Officer Thomas.
Hey, kid.
Hey, kid.
Yeah.
What's your name?
What's your name?
Danny can be Officer Thomas. Kawanda Kurata Kwa Credo. Officer Thomas.
Go for it, Allie. I'm narrating.
Nobody. Your name's Mr. Hero.
All right, and that is all the panels that you have written so far. So, just all right. One quick note before I close the script. Panels show things, so you don't have to say that they show things. 4K now is shown. Like, okay, you don't have to put now is shown, just because in that panel we know now is shown, because that's why the panel is there. So just go 4K rescues 3 people from the water. The girl holds his neck. Simple.
Okay.
Fewer words. All right. Well, now before we get is there also going to be a rap album? Is this like a combo? There's like a rap album and a comic?
Eventually, I'm planning on doing that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you've introduced us to a main character who's doing some heroic stuff. He's busting some awesome rhymes.
He's saving people.
He's saving people.
He's
wearing
saved.
parachute pants.
He's traveling through space and time. He's going wildly faster than light, and he learned English, but it was accented. So,
I mean, I know what that means. Doesn't everyone speak English with an accent?
Yes.
Okay. I
remember
thought
he's
so.
an alien.
I'm not from the United States of America, so it's possible I might be too global for such an understanding.
All right. But, a lot of stuff happened, and I know this is, your second time presenting a script, and, there's a lot to learn. but you're making some progress, and I think you're kind of heading in the right direction for where you want to go, which is a comic and a rap album. So.
Now, is this going out to people who are going to know some of these terms? And no, this is all new stuff for them too.
Yeah,
Like
I think I need to change. I think I need to simplify some of it. And and put
yeah. We'll get to that when we get to constructives. But
yes,
yeah,
I'm sure we'll all have something to say about that.
Yeah, you're gonna need to rework how you write in your art direction. But right now, let's talk about good things.
Yeah, Vito was about to say something nice.
Yeah, Vito, go.
Well, no, I think it's got the right, structure. Man comes from the stars to save humanity with his rhymes and with his heroism. I mean, that's pretty much what you want. So you just gotta. Now, does he change appearance at some point? As an alien, does he look human? Did I miss that?
While he's on Earth, there's gonna be episodes or issues, I should say, when he does change appearances. But as of right now, he's gonna be in the form of a human for the most part.
But when he was an alien, was he in the form of a human, or did he have a different form?
No, he looked different.
Okay, well, that'll be interesting. I think people will be interested to see him, because it starts off he's on his alien planet, right, and then he comes to Earth.
Right.
Yeah. So I think there's no moment. Go ahead, Danny.
I'm just saying I'm imagining a Sailor Moon transformation scene when he just gets into whatever hip hop clothing is supposed to be, and that is hilarious, and I love it.
Yeah. I think showing the transformation is going to be really fun. Is that he finds this culture or whatever, and kind of changes up his style and amalgamates it. I think that'll be cool.
Cool.
All right.
I really like that compared to the last version, there's dialogue where people are talking and it's not just narration. I really like that the dialogue is at a significantly lower register than the narration, although there's a constructive in there too. And that there's action, like he shows up and does heroic things immediately. Plus, you actually paid off. This is a comic about rap with some rap. So all of that totally deserves kudos. That was like everything we asked for last time.
Appreciate it, man.
And is that going to be a song that's on the album?
Yeah.
The one that's in the script? Yeah, so that'll be cool, because then in the corner you can have a little thing that goes, to listen along, go to track 3.
Yeah.
And you have a little picture of a compact disc, which nobody uses anymore, but
or a QR
music.
code to take.
Or like an iPod. No one uses those anymore either, though.
Oh, a QR code that leads to download.
You could put a QR code, and then you download the song, and then now you got the whole experience.
Or just like streaming on YouTube or whatever. Yeah, you got this.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Bit Rush. You're muted, by the way. All right.
Yeah. Sorry, my family just came on. It's a little loud here since I was muted.
Right.
But I liked how it had like a spiritual aspect to the origins, and the alien trying to intervene and save the race from their own. It seemed like from themselves is what it was trying to get to.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
John. Something you liked.
I think the world building is interesting. I think I've said that before the last time. You do have a very interesting world that you're setting up. So I think that's, and you definitely know. I think you have a vision for your story, and I think that's apparent.
All right, constructives. I think a lot of people are going to say you're going to need to rework and really I fundamentally understand what you're doing here in your script, which is you are giving direction for somebody to draw. And so you need to write for that other person clear so that they look at it and they go, oh yeah, I know what I'm supposed to draw. And you're going to need to rework a lot of a lot of your descriptions, because you're kind of using your own codes and your own terms, and that's cool for you, but for the person you want it to draw, they're going to be confused.
Okay.
Yeah, like in my script, like I have a thing and I call it like meteorium or something. But whenever I refer to it in the description, I just write green crystal. And for you, it could just be pod or whatever the different things are. Just so the artist just like very quickly knows what you're talking about.
So should I change the wording altogether, or just put in parentheses like a pod or something like the actual?
I would say there's really no reason for you to use the technical term in your script if you don't need to, because unless the illustrator is drawing it, if it's just a pod, then you could just describe the pod and call it the pod. And
is the dialogue going to refer to the pod by that name ever? Like, does that ever come up in the actual script?
It doesn't have to. I mean, it's not a main focus of the comic.
Okay, well, if it's not in the script, like, because I was going to say, if it's in the script and, like, characters are talking about it, then I would include it in the description at least once to say this is what they're talking about. They're talking about the pod. But if nobody ever talks about it or brings it up in the comic, I wouldn't give it, like, a special name. I'd just call it, science fiction gun or whatever, right. Like, all my stuff has very generic names that kind of just describe what it is. Science fiction pod, crazy time travel device, whatever.
Yeah, on that same note, like I felt like it was more like a novel, like I was reading like Dune or something, where they just start throwing terms at you and all these different worlds and planets and people. You have no clue what they are, and then as you read more, you start to figure out what it is, which I think is a cool style. It just doesn't fit for a comic book script.
There you go.
Yeah, like I'm cool with the names being, super original and alien or whatever. If they do appear in the script, I mean, a great thing you can always do is come up with kind of shortened versions of them. Or it goes, on my planet, they call me Hajanga Dandabugada, but you can just call me Hank. And you go, okay, yeah. And it works for everybody else, but you still have that flavor there in the background.
Okay.
I think that'll make it easier for the readers if you do end up using a lot of those terms. As you can still have them, I would just find ways to shorten them down.
Well, you kind of do that with your main character. I mean, you call him 4K rather than listing out his name.
It's a sign that he has too much Dave.
Yeah. So just like you did with 4K, you can also do that for your vehicles and your pods and whatnot. And Vito's right. Like if no one's ever going to say the name of the thing, then you don't really need to use the name in the description.
Understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it easy for think about your artist sitting there being like, does he need a separate sheet for like all these things? And if so, that's not helpful for him. And also it'll just be better if you can like describe it very clean and simply for him.
That's what your compendium is for.
You have to read this.
Okay.
When your story gets popular, then you can release your compendium where you actually name everything and with the pictures.
Oh,
and then you can talk. Then you could say, "This is the pod is called this."
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, like my main character's weapon probably has some sort of specific name. I just refer to it as his space gun whenever I have description. I'm like, Sam's space gun fires a laser. I don't use the technical term every time.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now that we've all said our piece about this, yeah, like Preston did mention the art direction being really quite repetitive, and sort of in addition to, I mean, you don't need to say that it's a picture that shows something. You're giving direction for a picture, and the direction is what it's going to show. I think like we were discussing using the active voice a bit more with BitRush's project. And I think that's something, Ali, like your project would really help with, right? Like 4K sleeps in his pod as compared to like a picture of the pod in which 4K is lying down, his eyes are closed and smiling.
Right.
It's going to look the same as art, but easier to draw, and very much like we said about Bitrush's project, like the verbs you use can give the mood a lot better than you trying to narrowly direct the mood. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
4K sleeps peacefully in his pod. You know, he's probably smiling. He doesn't look like he's troubled. Like, it's going to do the same thing as you trying to direct every little piece of the action there for what's ultimately a static shot. And that's going to make your script easier to read. It's also going to make it really easy to understand what the main action of the panel is that needs to be foregrounded and emphasized above anything else. And it's going to really help your illustrator make room for the dialogue and the narration, which is already quite plentiful.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here taking notes. So
more rap.
I
I'm
missed.
gonna say.
Yeah, and also more rap. We just have more. Can the narrator rap? That would be awesome.
I mean, I genuinely want more rap, but
Yeah.
you probably got to keep it to one an issue, huh?
yeah,
Well,
I'm not gonna.
Look, if you just bleed rhyme, then the narrator should rhyme. But I know that's
Yeah.
I was gonna say if the narrator
It's
could
a
rap.
spiritual story, but the narrator, he ain't got no soul, brother.
yeah.
If you're thinking of it like a musical, like, then they typically sing their almost ever constantly. So if that's kind of what you're going for, I do kind of agree about, you know, having your, you know, think of it, even if it's not a, even if the narrator's not speaking in rap, if he's speaking in poetry, you know, something along those lines.
having the narrator rhyming would be cool because it would like have that kind of energy.
There'd be a beat to the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's something to think
4K
about.
was lost amidst the wave, but 4K was not afraid.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm.
That would be cool. Yeah, I think that would definitely
So many to
increase.
save.
Yeah, I think that would definitely increase saleability. Like people would like that. It's hard, but you know, people would like it. So.
I mean, you can look up how to do poetry. It's really easy, and not at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a whole new field of writing that you get familiar with really, really fast. That's a great challenge, right?
Rap is a form of poetry, so
It is a form of
clearly
poetry.
he's familiar.
I was thinking about
with
like
poetry.
metrical, like poetic meters in English.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want rap.
I mean, for the narrator, though, it's 50-50. But I want the narrator.
If it's a rap book, the narrator should also rap.
The question is, who does the narrator rap like? Like, are we talking like Vanilla Ice here, or like
the narrator?
Presumably, the narrator is going to rap like Ali Warner, right? I mean, that's the rap album that's going with the thing. So, yeah.
Well, my aim, honestly, was just to have a album for the main character, 4K. So I mean, but that's, I mean, it's something I can definitely try to get together.
One thing you might consider.
You're right.
Instead of having the narrator just be this omniscient presence, I mean, you could be the narrator. Like the narrator could be like, "Let me tell you a story," and then now we understand that it's your rap that is kind of going with it, and you know, you kind of. This is a vehicle for you to sell yourself, and that's just another opportunity to do it.
I think that's actually really, really smart. And it opens up a lot of possibility that I hadn't thought about. I would strongly encourage you to explore this line of thinking. Because
and then you got to sell it.
Like everything in that alien sequence, like between the language, which is opaque, and the narration and the art direction, mostly having a lot of guys standing around in circles waving their arms, it's really hard to tell what's going on. And having a godlike narrator when you got literal God as a character, I think undersells the gaudiness of God.
Right.
And having you tell a story about this guy who happens to be in this society and then gets, you know, put into a strange place where he has to fit in.
Right.
That's going to really humanize the entire thing without losing a lot of the spirituality that you've got.
And I think also
different existence.
Yeah. And I think also if you announce that you're the narrator, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of God, because everybody has different ideas of what God should look like and what God should act like and all of that. And if you say, this is my story and this is, I'm bringing it to you, then we understand, well, this is how you see God. And that's cool.
Yeah. No one can tell you that you don't.
Right.
It's all about your feelings. That's fine. You do you, brother. And then you're going to avoid a lot of potential fights that way.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I would sell it as the writer. I would say, look, I met 4K. This all happened. This is real. I'm going to tell you the story. He came to me. He rapped for me. I recorded some of his raps because they were great. And now I'm going to tell you his story. And I'd be like, all right, I like this. This is cool.
Okay.
You're like the prophet in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're who's that guy?
Muhammad.
Yeah, you're Muhammad here. Is that blasphemous to say that?
No. I mean, maybe. Look,
yeah, start the comic off by saying, I'm Muhammad, and see what happens.
Don't do that. I'm pretty sure
don't do that.
I think he does that, he'll lose both his Christian and Muslim audience.
No, I don't know. That might be a good hook. We don't know. All right, don't do that. But, in the vein of a Muhammad, you're relating this incredible tale that has been told to you.
Exactly. Yeah. You're prophet.
I think in that same vein of what they're saying with the music video too, or like the rap, it could almost be like a music video, like the beginning of Fresh Prince, where he's narrating everything that happened in his life to get there. But it's like it's a rap too. I think that would be cool. It's like maybe a promotion for it or something, where you go through a couple scenes of the comic and get like a rap narrating it. I think that would be sweet.
I like that.
Okay.
Just make sure you don't ask Preston for advice on how to direct that, because then you'll end up giving art direction for the video for getting jiggy with it.
There you
go. And then also I missed the introduction part. I don't know if you guys did that last time you did it, but I think for me it would also help to have a little bit of an establishment of like what's going on and where they are in time and history and space. As he's talking about sending them down to Earth, maybe like a little scene of what's happening on Earth to kind of force.
I promise you, the introduction deals with all of this in excruciating detail.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think that's some good advice, and we're at 9:45 here in Central. John and Danny, why don't we take your scripts next week?
Are we doing a stream next week?
Yeah, we're doing a stream next week. I mean, why wouldn't we do it? Is next Wednesday something special?
Oh, I thought you might be busy next week.
I mean,
I you just invited us to a stream,
right? Yeah. Okay. No. Yeah.
All right. Next week it is.
Yeah. This week I'm not doing a show, and then next week I'm doing St. Louis, and St. Louis is not that far from Dallas, so shouldn't be that bad.
All
right. Cool. So next week, John and Danny will take your scripts then, and all
right.
I hope everybody felt like they had a productive time. And yeah, Vito, I'm looking forward just to seeing where your story goes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, have you been to a writing workshop before?
Probably a million years ago. So
okay.
No.
All right. All right. Well,
I don't get out of the house much.
Yeah. I feel it helps. And
come back next week. Yeah. Talk smack to John and I and whoever else brings the script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate the help, because trying to get people I know to read it, it's always like pulling teeth.
Exactly. Like no one ever wants to read your stuff, so that's why.
Or they'll just tell you, "Oh, I like it."
Right.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, well, like, what did you like? And they're like, I don't know. I didn't read it.
That's what we're here for. So cool.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you guys as well. I appreciate the feedback, and hopefully it'll be better next time we read it.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah,
all right, I'll see everybody next week. All right, see everybody next week. Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right, good night, you guys.
Later.